Hey y'all, and welcome to Politibrawl. My name is Brian, and Pete Hegseth, who is being nominated to head up the entire military under Donald Trump, runs absolute circles around Elizabeth Warren. This is absolutely hilarious. Stay for the whole thing, because this is funny. Let's dive in.
So help me understand, Mr. Hegseth, what extraordinary event happened in that 32-day period that made you change the core values you had expressed for the preceding 12 years?
Senator, again, I very much appreciate you bringing up my comments from 2013 because for me, this issue has always been about standards. And unfortunately, because of some of the people that have been in political power for the last 4 years, priorities other than standards, lethality, and meritocracy have driven decision-making.
I'm quoting you from the podcast. Women shouldn't be in combat at all. Where is the reference to standards? That they should be there if they can carry, if they can run. I don't see that at all, Mr. Hegseth. What I see is that there's a 32-day period in which you suddenly have another description about your views of women in the military. And I just want to know, what changed in the 32 days that the song you sang is not the song you come in here today to sing?
Senator, the concerns I have and the concerns that many have had, especially in ground combat units, is that in pursuit of certain percentages or quotas, standards have been changed. And that makes the combat more difficult for everybody involved.
Let me make a suggestion about what happened in that 32 days. You got a nomination from President Trump. Now, I've heard of deathbed conversions, but this is the first time I've heard of a nomination conversion. And I hope you understand that many women serving in the military right now might think that if you can convert so rapidly your long-held and aggressively pursued views in just 32 days, that 32 days after you get confirmed, maybe you'll just reverse those views and go back to the old guy who said straight up, women do not belong in combat. Now, Mr. Hegseth, you have written that after they retire, generals should be banned from working for the defense industry for 10 years. You and I agree on the corrosive effects of the revolving door between the Pentagon and defense contractors. It's something I would have liked to talk with you about if you'd come and been willing to visit with me. But the question I have for you on this is, will you put your money where your mouth is and agree that when you leave this job, you will not work for the defense industry for 10 years?
Senator, it's not even a question I've thought about because it's not one
think about it right now.
It's not one, my motivation for this job
I understand
has never
that. I
been
just
about
need
what
a
could
yes or no
conceivably
here.
come next.
Time is short. I just need a yes or no.
I would consult with the president about what the policy should be
In
at the Defense
other
Department.
words, you're quite sure that every general who serves should not go directly into the defense industry for 10 years. But you're not willing to make that same pledge?
I'm not a general, Senator.
You'll be the one, let us just be clear, in charge of the generals. So you're saying sauce for the goose, but certainly not sauce for the gander?
I would want to see what the policy of the president is.
Oh, I'll bet you would.
Thank you, Senator Warren.
That's the best they can do, isn't it? That is literally the best the entirety of the Democrat Party can do in the Senate. We might want to take some time and say, hey, at least Fetterman knows what he's talking about. At least Fetterman's on par with at least some of the ideas. Telling his own colleagues, hey, not voting for the Lake and Riley Act is a really stupid thing to do. Come on, that's the bar. Okay, that's the bar. It's low. You see the camera here? It's low. The bar should be up here, and Elizabeth Warren is way down here. You can't even see it on camera, and that's the point, because that is the best they can do. You don't have Republicans who talk like this. The Republican Party, we have John Kennedy, we have Ted Cruz, we have Josh Hawley, and when they're talking, they're pointing out so you want to be in the Supreme Court, or at least in the federal court system, right? Okay, so the reason we're questioning you is because you made these stupid tweets on this date, on this date, and this date, and they fly in the face of having a fair and balanced tie to the Constitution and to national law. So we have grounds to question you. Do you have a problem with your own tweets? Compare that to Elizabeth Warren here, who says, well, Mr. Hegseth, you said women shouldn't be in combat roles, and then you flipped your decision. That gives me reason to really question everything about you. I'm sorry, Mrs. Warren, Senator, there are a whole lot of better things to question Pete Hegseth on. This ain't one of them. Flip-flopping on policies happens all the time. I think you would know that, Senator Warren, because politics makes strange bedfellows now, doesn't it? You would kind of know that if you were a senator yourself. In this case, she actually is. She knows better. Instead, she's trying to catch him in a gotcha moment, which is basically Bush League tactics, okay? This is the Senate, not the House. Remember, the House has AOC. That's why it's considered the lower house. This is the Senate. This is where they give their advice. This is where they give their consent. This is where they say yes or no, we're going to go to war. And literally, this is the best a Democrat can do when it comes up to Pete Hegseth. And then right there at the end, talking about, hey, maybe there shouldn't be a pipeline from the military right to the CIA and right to other intelligence agencies that pay top dollar for classified information. Maybe that's a bad thing. And instead of Senator Warren going, you know what? I am actually with you on this policy. Thank you so much. This is a breath of fresh air. I wish we could have talked about this in person, but you know what? I'm with you. Instead, she turns it into an attempt to make everything about herself. That is because deep down, Elizabeth Warren does not care about her constituents. She does not care about the truth. She only cares about pushing policies that make her donors basically continue to back her. In other words, if she doesn't ruffle the feathers of her core Democratic constituency, that is, the people that vote in primaries, well, then she's not going to be able to do her job too well. Okay, because she's going to get primaried and she'll probably lose, and rightfully so. Elizabeth Warren has had factual fallacies time and time and time again. Remember, there's a reason President Trump once called her Pocahontas, who was an actual Native American. Compare that to Elizabeth Warren, who's barely 1,000th of a Native American. I've got more Cherokee blood than she can ever claim to have, okay? That is the simple truth when you come from North Georgia compared to, Massachusetts. But it's not to brag about genealogy here. Instead, let's talk about policy. Let's talk about the ideas that Pete Hegseth wants to say, and that is women should not be in combat roles for the same reason people are now looking at the Los Angeles Fire Department for hiring an obese lesbian who then on camera, and they said this in basically a PSA, she said on camera, ladies, if your husband is in a fire, he's in a situation that he shouldn't have been in to begin with. That's not the kind of person you want protecting you. And that's a big reason why people are looking left and looking right and going, maybe women shouldn't be in combat roles? It's good to question these sort of things, because when liberals say what they really want and they say what they mean, believe them. Remember, conservatives are hyperbolic to make a point. Liberals are hyperbolic because they want to be hyperbolic. They want that as the standard. These people are not good when it comes to governing. And Massachusetts, it's a reason why it's a very Democrat state, but they keep on electing Republican governors, even though they come out like Mitt Romney. There's a reason that they understand that maybe their senators should be a little bit conservative from time to time. Pennsylvania understands that. John Fetterman understands this. Why can't Elizabeth Warren? This is ultimately a bless your heart kind of moment, because instead of grilling him on much deeper questions, Elizabeth Warren just tried to make this about herself. And that's why Pete Hegseth really needs to go in there and just gut the military and wrench away the woke nonsense that has continued to plague our ranks for the last 4 years and arguably before that. Okay, things weren't great under Obama, really. Let's be honest here. And that's why I want veterans like Pete Hegseth, like Tulsi Gabbard, to come in there and clean up the sludge and the mess. And maybe we can have a good military again. Maybe we can clean out a bunch of wasteful spending. And maybe we can make troops believe in why they're fighting, in why they enlist to begin with. It's not because of free college. It's because deep down, these people really want to serve. Maybe we should start treating our veterans with a little bit more, gravitas than Elizabeth Warren is doing here to Pete Hegseth. Folks, my name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on Politibrawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one, and until then, y'all have a good one.